Hey there, just an initial impressions video for you today. This is a Cold Steel Code 4. It's a knife arrived from Aussie Knives yesterday, who are my chosen, my preferred knife retailer in Australia. This is the new 2015 range of Cold Steel. So this is in the CTS XHP Super Steel, I guess you'd call it. Super Steel, apparently it's got properties similar to ZDP 189, a little bit of a step up from Astradavai, and yeah, just pretty much a doubling in price of all the Cold Steel knives, but I guess a very flash steel that they're running, and they got rid of lots of that Tuff-X paint on most of them as well when they started DLCing their knives, which Cold Steel seemed to have a pretty crazy 2015. They made a lot of changes and released a lot of new knives and had an embarrassing lawsuit and all sorts of things happened. But with CRKT there, all sorts of things going on. But you got to say it's a pretty cool step up for a company to completely upgrade their knives with American steel and a high quality one at that. And yeah, you really can't knock them for trying to improve themselves. So what do you get with Cold Steel's Code 4? You get quite a big blade. I wasn't expecting it to be this big. So this is a Code 4 and this is a Kershaw Skyline. So it's a fair bit bigger. It's not particularly a heavy knife. I think due to its aluminium handle, it's fairly slim, and it doesn't have liners obviously, it's just aluminium. It's not milled out or anything, but it's got a lock back, which is probably about as heavy a mechanism as a liner lock, just because of the amount of steel involved. Somehow they've kept it quite light. Let's weigh it here. Where's your knife? So, put on my scales there, it's 120 grams. So for say the Kershaw Skyline, that's 70 grams, so it's about twice the weight of the Kershaw Skyline, which is a very light knife due to its very minimalist design. Spyderco Paramilitary, very similar knife, is 110 grams, so it's 10 grams heavier than a Paramilitary 2 for an all-metal construction knife. So pretty good weight, I'd suggest. You get a thumb stud opener, you get the sculpted aluminium handle, which is 2 pieces with a spacer. You get a lock back Cold Steel Andrew Demko Triad locking system, which as usual is very sturdy. This one actually has a slight bit of jiggle in it, it's like a lock back level of jiggle. Like lock backs are often just a slight, there's no side to side play, but I think it's when you pull the knife up vigorously, you can feel the lock sort of engage a bit harder. I don't think it's a bad jiggle. I think it's just like I think I'd still suggest this is probably the strongest looking knife I own, or stronger perhaps than the Paramilitary even. But yeah, just a little bit of, actually I feel the same with my Dragonfly. It's just a lock back issue, I think. You get the Cold Steel pocket clip, the pretty standard one, slight difference in the screws and their layout, but more or less the same one. You get a second one if you want it on the other side. It's only tip up carry, so there's no side for it here. And this is the spear point variety of blade. It comes with a clip as well, and also a tanto, and also partially serrated versions of both as well. Initial impressions, quite comfortable in the hand. Quite comfortable. Squeezing down on it really hard. One hot spot I notice as I do this is just there, in the fingers, just your hand getting pressed between these 2 bits of aluminium. They've sculpted them a little bit, but there is still an edge, just as there'll be an edge on any knife. Like if I squeeze this Paramilitary really hard, there's a slight edge between these G10 slabs, but not as bad as in this one. But overall, it's a pretty ergonomic handle. It is rather thin handle. So look at it next to the Paramilitary 2. There's a couple of mils thinner than the Paramilitary 2 for sure. So whether that's going to be important or not with hard use, but I'm not sure. I don't really hard use my knives. I like this one because it's got a big blade, which makes it good for cutting up food. Like I cut up a kiwi fruit with this yesterday. Worked really well for that. Just like an extra half inch on the blade does really well. Speaking of blade, let's look at it in front of the Paramilitary 2 or next to it. Pretty much the same size knife, so it's that caliber of knife, that class of knife, 3.5 inch blade, between 100 and 150 grams, semi-tactical, semi-hard use. This carries better than the Paramilitary 2. It's thinner and it goes in and out the pocket easier. It is about as wide when it's closed, but I think perhaps the thinness is what does it. It really slides into the pocket really well, and this is an instance where this cold steel pocket clip isn't horrible. This is a horrible clip when you've got it pressing against rougher material like this, but because it's pressed against smooth aluminium, because it's tight, you want that tightness because the aluminium offers no drag on your pocket at all, so you actually want a fairly tight pocket clip. So I'm pretty happy with that as well. The steel, it came razor sharp. Cold steel knives, you're disappointed when a cold steel knife doesn't come razor sharp. So it's yeah, very sharp. But that's not the steel, obviously, because a 420 HC blade can come this sharp. So it's not saying that the steel is what's doing this. It's just the sharpening job from the factory, which is cool. Hollow grind, so it will slice very well. Interested to see how the CTS XHP stands up to S30V and more specifically ZDP 189. Apparently it's quite good. I read very positive things. So what else can you do? You can just flip the thumb stud over. One thing I do notice with a big knife like this, the Paramilitary is a lot easier to open because you can just flick it. Because these handles are longer, following your thumb around requires a grip readjustment, so you need to creep your hand up. So because you can just flick the Paramilitary, it's easier to open than this cold steel, which you do sort of need to. And I've got largish hands. You need to sort of creep your hand up a bit if you haven't initially positioned it higher on the knife. So you need to kind of creep your hand high up on the knife, open like that, and then crawl back down again to get your grip. That's what I find anyway. You'd have to have really big hands to be able to open this and be in grip mode straight away. So it's another little thing I can think of suggesting to you. So cold steel knives are in Australia now, so if you're an Australian watching, you can go to Aussie Knives right now. I think I bought the last spear point, but you can get a clip point still, you can get Recon ones, you can get the very cool looking American Lawman, which I think is the best looking of these cold steel folders. Probably the closest they make to a Paramilitary 2, because it's got the forward choil, not obviously a different blade shape, but about the same size of knife, same weight of knife. It's just solid G10 handles, no liners, so quite good. So I think the American Lawman might be my next port of call, and I'd suggest making it yours as well if you're going to pick a cold steel knife to start with. And of course you've seen my Voyager, my medium Voyager in a couple of videos ago. It's a good knife, good working knife, a bit different to this though. So those are the initial thoughts on the cold steel. There'll be a full review. I'm still carrying the Skyline to get a sense of that, so I'm not really carrying this one just yet. There'll be a review for this in a few weeks' time once I've done enough jobs with it to be happy to say yes or no on it. Okay, thank you for watching again, dudes, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!